Power doesn't make a villain truly terrifying. So who deserves number 1? Anyone can destroy a city, but the truly evil ones destroy people from the inside.
Kicking off at number 10, Frieza. Frieza is a galactic real estate broker whose favorite hobby is casual genocide.
Frieza isn't evil because he needs to survive. He destroys worlds because he enjoys having absolute control over them.
But Frieza only takes number 10 because his evil is brutally simple. He wants power, control, and domination. The villains above him are far more twisted. At number 9, the Major. Most villains want to win a war. The Major wants the war itself. He doesn't care about victory. He doesn't even care about survival. He wants the battlefield to keep burning. That's what makes him different. Other villains use war to achieve something. The Major wants war because war itself is what he loves. At number 8, Muzan Kibutsuji. 1,000 years of murder, all because he was terrified of dying. Muzan's solution to death was simple: create more monsters. He turned humans into demons, then discarded them whenever they failed him. And that's what makes Muzan so disturbing. His cruelty isn't courage, it's cowardice, with absolute power. That's the terrifying part. At number 7, Chocolata, a former doctor whose cruelty was so extreme, even criminals considered him a monster.
His victims weren't just targets. Chocolata studied their fear, recorded their suffering, and treated human misery like entertainment. At number 6, Mahito. He doesn't see human beings as people. To him, the human soul is nothing more than a toy. Mahito doesn't just kill. He experiments. He transforms innocent people, watches their terror, and laughs while Yuji is forced to watch. And that's the difference. Mahito understands suffering perfectly. He understands every reaction, and still doesn't care. At number 5, Sukuna. He doesn't need an excuse to be cruel. If hurting people entertains him, that's reason enough. Sukuna's cruelty is almost casual. He can erase entire crowds in seconds. Then, he enjoys the silence. That's why Sukuna ranks this high. There is no grand excuse behind his cruelty. He hurts people because nothing in him tells him to stop. At number 4, Enrico Pucci. His evil is more dangerous because he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing. Pucci's solution was terrifying: create a world where humanity already knows its fate. To him, surrendering free will was the price of heaven. And the cost wasn't small. Pucci was willing to sacrifice lives, friendships, and free will itself to force humanity into his perfect future. At number 3, Griffith. He didn't simply betray his friends. He sacrificed the people who loved him most to become the monster he wanted to be. The horror wasn't just that Griffith sacrificed them. It's that they believed in him until the very end. Then he made his choice, and everyone else became the price. Griffith didn't lose his humanity by accident. He consciously traded it away for his dream, and that's why his betrayal is so unforgivable. At number 2, Shou Tucker. Griffith sacrificed an army. Tucker destroyed the one thing he was supposed to protect. Tucker didn't do it because he hated his daughter. That's what makes it worse. He valued his career more than her life, and that's why fans still remember him. And now, number 1, Johan Liebert. No army, no supernatural power, just a human being who learned how to destroy people from within. And here's what makes Johan terrifying. He doesn't need magic, armies, or overwhelming strength. His weapon is the human mind. Johan's greatest weapon is manipulation. He doesn't force people to obey him. He makes them believe the choice was theirs.
That's what makes Johan different. He barely needs to touch anyone. A few words can make someone destroy everything around them.
And his influence spreads far beyond one person. Johan can turn fear, loneliness, and despair into weapons without ever pulling a trigger.
Frieza had armies. Sukuna had overwhelming power. Griffith had demons. Johan had none of them. And that's exactly why he takes number 1.
That's the terrifying part. You can defeat a monster with power. But how do you defeat someone who convinces ordinary people to destroy themselves?
That's why Johan takes the crown, not because he's the strongest villain, but because his evil comes from choice and manipulation and a complete absence of empathy.
So that's the list. Frieza, the Major, Muzan, Chiakalada, Mahito, Sukuna, Pucci, Griffith, Tucker, and Johan at number 1. But here's the controversial question. Is Johan really more evil than Griffith? Or does sacrificing everyone who trusted you deserve the number 1 spot? That's our list. But evil is subjective. So tell us, who deserves number 1? And who did we rank completely wrong?